Before the Six Nations started, I'm not sure there's too many of us that would have looked at France-England final weekend and would have believed it when it was England that had a better chance of winning the title on the final weekend. But that is where we are. As it happens, France and England both still technically can win it. I think most of us probably expect Ireland to wrap it up by getting at least a bonus point against Scotland. But nonetheless, that is still the situation coming into this game, which is quite interesting. I suppose a bit of a snapshot to the two championships that England and France have had up until this point. But going to get into the game. Let me know how you see it going. Let me know what you make of the two team selections by both coaches. In particular, I'd imagine there'll be more England fans watching this for obvious reasons. So let me know what you make of what Steve Borthwick has done. And also, if you like the video and also subscribe to the channel as well, that's massively appreciated. But let's get straight into it then. I'm going to start with France as the home team, and they are unchanged from their victory over Wales in Cardiff, which was a funny game. My read on it when I was watching it was that it was actually a pretty tight game. Yes, France dominated it, particularly when it came to the second half in terms of territory and possession, but it wasn't until really that Taoufiq charge down try on about 68, 69 minutes that the game really went away from Wales. The final scoreline, I thought, made it look a lot worse than it was. I still wasn't overly impressed with France, even though there were glimmers there, perhaps more so than we've seen up until that point in the Six Nations. But when you look at an unchanged team, I think for where France are at this moment in time, they are a side that haven't been particularly convincing. They've looked disjointed, particularly in attack. The fact that they have gone with the same team makes sense from that point of view, because we did start to see a bit more of the France we probably expected at the start of the Six Nations in that game. So from the coach's point of view, stick with it, give them time again. And when you look through that French team, we've been saying all Six Nations, haven't we, that they have quality. You look at the names, it doesn't look like a bad team. I still think they have firepower there. Stick with them, don't chop and change, and give them an opportunity to go out again and do the job, this time at home, and hoping to finish the Six Nations on a high. But as I say, I mean, they haven't been attacking great. That forward pack has the power to get them front football. And that back line, Le Garrec, man of the match, player of the match against Wales. Ramos, I actually think looked all right at fly half. I heard mixed reviews of his performance, but he's been playing really well in the top 14 and I think looked pretty good. Bielbiaré and Penaud were the starting wingers for most of the World Cup. Ficou's been there and done it. And then you've got the slightly younger guys in Deportier and Barre at 12 and at 15. But overall, I still look at that French team and think there are still so many threats there. And as I say, for the reasons I've outlined, I can understand why Fabien Galthie has opted to not chop and change. Having said that, France have not had a great Six Nations at all, particularly from the expectations most people had on them coming into it. So are they going to finish on a high, or is this a massive opportunity? Is the door open for England to go to Lyon, the belly of France, great city, and get a pretty big win? Not many players in this England team have won away in France. It's been a little while since England have been able to do it. And this is the England team that Steve Borthwick has selected and challenged to go and do exactly that. I suppose with England to a degree, the pressure's off a bit, isn't it? I do think that performance and result against Ireland eases the pressure on how this Six Nations will be viewed from England, because it's the first time in a long, long time where their fans have had a really good performance and a brilliant result against a top opposition. And that just breathes life and faith and belief into what Steve Borthwick is trying to do. It is the best piece of evidence England fans could have asked for. So because of that, to a degree, I think it takes the pressure off this game a little bit. Having said that, and from some of the interviews I've heard from the England camp this week, the whole message has been the best sides in the world, back it up. Yes, they had a brilliant result against Ireland and a great performance as well. Go away to France and back it up. So the pressure's off, but internally that certainly won't be the case. They will be wanting to go and do a job. And because of what I've just mentioned in terms of France not being at their best, maybe there is an opportunity here for England. In terms of the team, it's also continuity for England, which is something we saw after the defeat to Scotland. We didn't see too much of a knee-jerk reaction, and they've stuck with it for this game. Just the one change, Elliot Daly comes back in because Manny Faye-Reboso picked up a concussion, which he self-diagnosed himself, and so it is Daly that comes back in. For the obvious reasons that has been spoken about for England throughout this Six Nations, they have been a team over years that have chopped and changed a huge amount. Borthwick has spoken about the lack of cohesion, the lack of continuity for so many combinations in his team. So the fact that there is minimal changes in the starting 15, I think makes sense in the same way it does for the French. There was part of me that would have liked to see someone like a Will Muir come in. We're always tempted, aren't we, with the shiny new toy. I would love to see him get an opportunity in an England shirt at some point. But equally, Elliot Daly has been in the team throughout this Six Nations. He's the experienced option, going away to France. Tough away game, somewhere England hasn't won. There's a lot of reasons that you understand why he has come in, plus the versatility that Daly brings. If you do get injuries in the back line, they've actually gone with a 5-3 split on the bench, so that's less of an issue as it would be with a 6-2. But even so, versatility in positions he can play, left-footed kicking option, long-range kicking option as well. Perhaps overall, at this moment in time for this challenge, Elliot Daly is the man that Steve Borthwick and England wanted to go for. Also, you've got Ethan Roots coming back onto the bench, Manu Tuolangi returning from injury as well. But what do you make of that England team? You know, when I speak about Daly, I suppose when you look at the experience that he brings as well, is I think one of the nice things for England this Six Nations is the balance between the experience they already had and some of the players that have come into the side. In that you look at George Furbank at fullback. Yes, he'd been capped before, but this feels like the Six Nations where he has looked at home in an international jersey. Tommy Freeman and Faye Woboso as well. Faye Woboso injured for this game, but have come in and looked at home on the wings. Seen Henry Slade come back into the team. He's got more experience. Ollie Lawrence. I'd love to see England at some point find a way of getting Ollie Lawrence to play 13 as he does in the Premiership, but who is the inside centre at the moment, we're not too sure on. Then Alex Mitchell has continued at 9. We've got just, I suppose, a mix ultimately. George Martin has come in, one of the younger guys. Ben Earls continued to nail down his place, but then you've also got a Natoje and Underhill coming back in, a Jamie George, Ellis Genge. I suppose the front row for England is the area, if we're looking way down the line, that we need to see some players come through, and actually the way in which the under-20s and the forward pack for England has been monstering sides in the front five, that's an encouraging sign. But I suppose my point is I feel pretty good with where England currently are and where they are coming into this game. So let's finish things off. Where is this game going to be won? It's been spoken about a lot since the Wales game and the power in this French side, and it is undeniable that it is a side that still has loads of power, which makes it all the stranger for how their attack has been so poor and been so disjointed. And actually, the French power game isn't something, for the most part, we've seen a huge amount this Six Nations. We didn't really see it against Ireland. Ireland got the better of them. We didn't see it particularly against Murrayfield. I think Scotland fronted up pretty well in terms of the power. They weren't blowing Italy away, and we probably saw a bit more of it against Wales as well. So I feel from an England perspective, if they can disrupt the breakdown, if they can front up and close down France in the way that they closed down Ireland. You think about Ireland, the speed of ball they have, their ruck speed was a lot slower against England. They didn't have as much time. The England blitz defence looked better. If England can continue to implement that and stop this French forward pack and stop the power, I think the French attack might continue to stutter, because that's what we have seen so far in the Six Nations. The defence generally from France has been good, although against Wales, actually it was pretty poor on a few occasions as well. So England will hope that they can shut them down in attack and then hopefully start to put pressure on them in defence, I would imagine. But where do you think the game is going to be won, and who is going to be win? I honestly find it so hard to call, because yes, England got a great victory against Ireland. I still look at this French side and see quality there, although their form is pretty poor. I'd say I'd maybe think England could edge it, but France at home is not an easy prospect. They might have finally got a little bit of confidence and turned the corner with that victory over Wales, and actually maybe they are about to provide their best performance of the championship so far. I would not be shocked by any stretch if actually France put in a pretty good performance against England and got the win. Either way, fascinating for both teams for different reasons. Let me know who you think is going to win. Let me know what you think about the various bits of team selection as well, or the lack of changes, I suppose, more than anything. And enjoy the rugby this weekend. If you've got this far in the video, if you can drop a thumbs up, that just spreads it to as many people as possible on YouTube. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.